sex offenders, paedophiles, nonces, wrong uns, call them what you want. Um, you know, they're the skid mark on the criminal world. Um, it's when I've talked before about almost like a ladder of crime. You want to commit a crime that you are kind of proud of, that you don't mind your name going in the local paper. And obviously we're in an age now where Facebook and social media shares the news on an unprecedented scale. So it's never been more easy to for your name to be plastered everywhere in your local area for what you've been doing. Back in the day when I was committing crime, the only time you'd see it would be um, on the crime court pages in the middle of the local rag. You had to go looking for it if you wanted to find out what I've been up to. But now it would be spread all over social media, live, as I was getting sent down in the court. Maybe an hour later it would be pushed in front of everyone's face in the news. And that's the same for everyone. So if you're committing crimes against children, women, men, these sort of thing, it's going to be known in your local area very, very quickly. So as soon as you go into prison as one of these sex offenders, you're taken and separated straight away, and you're asked if you want to go on to what they call the protection wing, the nonces wing, the 43s, I think it is, or is it 45s? 43s, all 43 is the protection. On that wing, you'll have debtors, sex offenders, police, prison officers who've, obviously gone bent, that sort of thing. So, and then obviously there's a hierarchy amongst them, because when you're on that wing, the grasses see themselves as being better than the nonces. So you'll still have a hierarchy, even on the protection wing. They call it separating them for their own protection, because obviously if the main wing get wind of what they're in for, they will get violently assaulted, even killed. You could get hot water thrown over you. You mix in sugar into the hot water so it sticks and becomes more like tar, and you can see people's skin get taken off because of the mixture. It's a bit of a sport to try and get a sex offender, because I know, especially in Exeter, sometimes they'd have to walk them through the bottom of the when they were going for a legal visit or something like that. You'd see one of the members of staff bringing a nonce through and taking them downstairs. And I remember one of my friends come running into the cell, all happy because he'd seen one getting brought through. So he quickly ran to the boiler, got a flask full of hot water, and managed to get him just as he was getting with the hot water, just as he was heading down the stairs. And he was overjoyed with that. So it's always a bit of sport, and always some added points if you manage to get your hands on a nonce. Sometimes they do try and mix in with the rest of the prisoners, so they don't always take the opportunity to go off to the the protection wing, and they can end up being on the same wing as everybody else. They will lie about what they're in for. They'll say they're in for assault or violence or burglary, that sort of thing. But every member of staff, when you're looking at the computer screen, you can see what people are in for, and you don't have to go looking for it. It's normally, I remember the system that we used to see when the gym screws were writing people's stuff out. We always used to have a quick shifty at the screen, and it used to be up in the top right hand corner, I think. You'd see their offence, and some of these people were in for some horrific things, and it's disturbing. But I guess prison's the best place for them, really. The prison staff will, if they're on the main wing, will sometimes let some of the boys know. And the staff have come to me before, and my pals, and said, such and such Smith down in the ones, in cell 36, he's he's in for rape. And what they'll do is they'll look the other way when they open our cell and they open his cell. If it all starts banging and crashing, they're not going to come running too quickly. And when he's taken off to the block, there won't be any statements taken, or no one will see what happened or why. So from that point of view, the staff do, obviously, they still have a moral compass. And even I remember one time was let know that me and my cellmate got told that this guy was the kind of guy that put out cigarettes on fucking dogs. He was in for animal abuse. So so the member of staff told us about it. And again, one day our cell door was left open the same day as his, and the lad got a good hiding. But it's those kind of things. Again, this is why I said, you always want to commit a crime that, you're proud to hold your head up to, and you're proud of, even though crime is a scumbag thing to do, you want to be at least, proud to be accountable for what you've done. So the sex offender problem. Obviously, everyone's got a lot of ideas about what you do with them. For me, I would just throw them all into a fucking pit somewhere, let them fucking rot. But I don't think they should have any kind of rights. I don't think that they should be fucking given any kind of, it should be Victorian, the fucking punishment that they get. But then, people could say that about armed robbery and selling drugs to people and shit as well. So, why, from the outside point of view, is there really a difference? So yeah, even within the prison now, when I was doing my gym orderly job at Exeter Prison, part of that job was to I'd have to give a gym induction to the fucking sex offenders and the cowards and the grasses and things, and you didn't really kind of chat to them on a mate basis, but you'd have to take down their name and things to write out their gym card, and you'd have to take the induction, so you'd have to show them around how each bit of kit works. Now, I remember at one time I was in there with this particularly bad fucking nonce, and he still troubles me to this day, to be honest. He was only 17 or 18, I think he was quite young, and the staff told me that he was in for, he got stuck in a little girl's bedroom window, and so he never actually got to attack the girl, but it was when they searched his property, because obviously the dad came in one morning, the little girl woke up, saw him stuck in the window, and the dad phoned the police, gets arrested, they go and search his property, and he is obsessed with that guy, Ian Huntley, the one who killed those two little girls. There's pictures of him all over the wall, there's cutouts in the newspaper and everything. The guy's obviously a fucking sicko, He was given an IPP with, no release date, so he was never going to get out. And even at that young age, he was already seen to be just fucking too dangerous to ever get out again. Now, I was thinking about him the other day because he still troubles me, because, you have to be, an element of professional, even as a gym orderly, you've got to make sure that you can't, I should have done something about him. I sit here and think the other day, it actually made me quite annoyed the other day that I didn't just go and pick up one of the heavy weights, one of the dumbbells, and just kind of show him while I'm doing the induction, and just get him to lay down on the bench and just drop the fucking dumbbell on his head. And I don't think there would have been too much fucking comeback from it. I think a lot of people probably would have just patted me on the back. But yeah, still to this day, I was thinking about him the other day, and it started to make me quite fucking worked up that I didn't do anything about him. Break his legs, break his arms, drop a dumbbell on his fucking face, that sort of thing. I think, going back into prison now, possibly, with a lot less of an attitude of caring less, then I think I possibly would have seen that as an opportunity to maybe go a bit vigilante. Who knows? It's interesting what people will do or not when they're confronted with these things. So yeah, the sex offenders, the nonces, the bacons, the paedophiles, the rapists, the child molesters, the fucking lowest of the low, and they all end up in prison. Apparently Dartmoor's full of them now. It used to be a good jail, but you probably end up getting more resources or more funding, that sort of thing, for these fuckers. Honestly, I wish that part of their sentence was to be on the main wing with everybody else. It would have been it would have made my day. I would have, every day I would have been waking up, getting ready to chase him around the fucking wing. I would have, that would have fucking that really would have made my day. But they're not. They get fucking protected, looked after, put on these fucking rehabilitation courses. Because they've got an illness, and it's disgusting. Whereas really, they should be fucking sending them off to the labs. I don't think anyone would mind if they started testing chemical weapons on them, that sort of thing. Find out what happens when you drop some of those big fucking bombs on people. Who knows? There's lots we can learn from that sort of thing. I remember one fucking notorious guy. We used to see his van coming into Exeter. He was in like a double A-cat or an A-cat van. It looks like the kind of vans you see rolling around in Northern Ireland. He's got much smaller windows, much more sort of, much more secure. Because he wasn't staying at Exeter for his trial. He was a foreign guy, a Polish guy, and he'd raped this girl so bad that it was disgusting. It was, it's still, even just the thought of what she did fucking still haunts me. What he did, sorry, haunts me. And it was so bad that, they put him in an A-cat prison rather than in the B-cat for Exeter, which is unusual because, most people normally, you're all thrown in Exeter for your trial and stuff, but no, he was off at a different prison. I remember looking out of the wing and seeing his fucking his van parked up there when he was going through his trial every day, because they'd bring him into Exeter quickly and put him down the block while he was on trial. People like that out there, they are out there. They're amongst us. They just fucking wander about, and you don't find out until they cause devastation in people's lives. My philosophy would be to fucking hang them all, burn them all, get Game of Thrones on their fucking asses, get creative. There is no place in society for people who find children attractive, babies, that sort of thing. There's no fixing them. There's no rehabilitating them. And these people, they get let out, and they're on the same probation as I was. So probation only ever really knows what they're doing for that 20 minutes. They're sat in the office telling them that, yeah, everything's going great, and they could literally walk out and go straight down to a school or a playground after that, and probation would have a fucking clue until what they're doing until 7 days later when they're sat in that office again. It's disgusting. The whole probation service is fucking is it's not fit for purpose anyway. It's a very difficult way. It's a difficult question across the board to say how how to deal with reoffenders and prisoners getting out on license, but when you've got people like sex offenders and things like this, especially, they should definitely not be let out. One of the times I've had to hold my own, hold back again is when I came out of prison, because it's always been the thing I struggled with was accommodation. It was difficult for me to arrange accommodation whilst being in prison, so I'd always get out with no fixed abode and then end up within the first few weeks finding somewhere to live. Once I started making money, it'd be not a problem, but within those first few days, I'd always end up getting out with nothing. And a lot of my sentences were larger, parole sentences, so they'd want me to have an address. And where I didn't have one, they just throw me into a bail hostel in Cornwall. And it's notorious for having sex offenders in there. There was a guy in there, and they look like fucking nonsense, these people, so they're not hard to tell. I used to have as little to do with the place as possible. I'd always have a job within a few days of getting out, even if it was just a mate telling them that I worked for him when I really didn't. So I'd be out of there as soon as possible. But some of these fucking wrong-uns, they'd have like a 24-hour tag, so they weren't allowed out of the building at all. Some of them in there have been moved down from other parts of the country. It's disgusting. And you got to sit there with them in the morning meetings and shit, and it's fucking, yeah, it's just wrong. But again, these people are fucking closer amongst us than you fucking think sometimes. So yeah, it's one of the, it's not a video that it's you want to make or you want to really glamorize, but it's a part of prison that is there as much as everything else. But trust me, every prisoner is sat there hoping that he gets his hands on a sex offender at some point and punishes them for what they're in there for. you know. So don't worry, it's in hand. Um, but yeah, I wish their time was harder, and I wish their time was worse. And I wish I could get my hands on each of them personally. But anyway, uh, thank you again for listening. I'll keep making these videos as long as people keep listening. I've got a few more ready and lined up for the next few subjects. I'm also working on some crime fiction that we can put out when I've run out of things to say. And also, you know, I'm still writing the book, so that'll be in the comment section soon. All right, so yeah, thank you very much for listening, and yeah, I'll speak to you soon.